Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt your mind just slow down? Like the stars are quietly talking to you, telling you to relax. Tonight, we're going to float through space together, gentle, calm, and full of wonder. You'll hear 100 relaxing facts about our solar system, and by the end, your mind will feel lighter, like you've drifted through the stars yourself. So lie back, take a deep breath, and let the universe do its magic. Welcome to Sleepy Science, where space feels like a dream. You know, space is quiet, not just the kind of quiet you get late at night, but a deep, endless silence that wraps around everything. If you could stand on the moon right now, you'd hear nothing. No cars, no wind, not even a single sound from Earth. Just the soft hum of your own breath inside your helmet. And somehow, that silence feels comforting, like the whole universe is giving you room to just be. Our solar system begins with the sun, the heart of everything. It's wild to think about, but the sun makes up more than 99% of all the mass in the solar system. Everything, the planets, moons, asteroids, all dance around it, pulled by its invisible hand. The sun isn't just fire. It's a ball of gas so hot that every second it sends light racing through space, lighting up every world we'll talk about tonight. When you feel sunlight on your skin, remember, that light left the sun about 8 minutes ago. It traveled almost 150 million kilometers just to touch you. Kind of makes you realize how connected we are to space, right? Even when you're sitting in your room, you're bathing in the light of a star. Now let's drift toward Mercury, the closest planet to the sun. Poor Mercury gets roasted by sunlight all day, but since it has almost no air, the heat doesn't spread. That means its days are scorching hot, around 430 degrees Celsius, but its nights drop to minus 180. Imagine that swing. One side feels like an oven, the other like deep space. Yet Mercury just keeps orbiting, steady and silent, not complaining, not rushing. There's something peaceful about that, the idea of just staying on your path, no matter how hot or cold things get. And then comes Venus, the brightest planet in our sky. Sometimes people call it Earth's twin because they're almost the same size, but trust me, you wouldn't want to visit. Venus is covered in thick clouds that trap heat, turning it into a giant oven. Temperatures there can melt metal, but from far away it shines beautifully, like a golden gem in the night. It reminds you that beauty doesn't always mean comfort. Some things are better admired from a distance. Now, as we move to Earth, take a second to just breathe. Out of all the worlds spinning around the sun, this tiny blue planet is the only one we know that hums with life. The waves, the trees, the laughter, the storms, all happening together on this one floating ball in space. Sometimes we forget how lucky we are to live here, under this gentle layer of air that keeps us safe and warm. Every heartbeat, every breath is part of Earth's rhythm. Our moon, too, is more than just a bright light at night. It pulls on our oceans, guiding the tides like a soft cosmic conductor. Without the moon, Earth's tilt might wobble too much and life could be very different. But it's here, always watching, always following us around the sun. You can almost feel its quiet loyalty when you look up at it. Next stop, Mars, the red planet. People call it dusty and dry, but in a strange way, Mars feels peaceful. Its sky glows softly with a pinkish hue, and sometimes tiny whirlwinds dance across the surface like ghostly dust devils. Once long ago, it had rivers and maybe even lakes. Scientists think it might have been warm and cozy enough for life. Now it's cold and lonely, but beautiful in its stillness, like an old photo of what could have been. Beyond Mars lies something mysterious, the asteroid belt, a wide zone filled with rocky pieces left over from when the solar system was born. They never formed a planet. Instead, they just float there, orbiting quietly, never bumping into each other the way movies show. It's like a memory of the solar system's childhood, frozen in space. And then we reach the giant Jupiter, the king of planets. If you could somehow stand on Jupiter, you can't. It's made of gas. You'd be crushed by its pressure before you even blink. But oh, what a sight it would be! Its storms swirl for centuries, and one of them, the Great Red Spot, has been raging for over 300 years. You could fit 3 Earths inside that storm. Yet despite its size and fury, Jupiter moves gracefully, turning once every 10 hours like it's dancing with the sun. Jupiter also has over 90 moons, and one of them, Europa, hides an ocean beneath its icy crust. Think about that, an entire ocean sealed under ice, glowing faintly with energy from below. Some scientists believe there could be life swimming down there in the dark, away from sunlight. Just the thought of that feels magical, doesn't it? Life finding a way in the quiet corners of space. And as we float past Jupiter, we start seeing faint rings, thin, delicate circles of dust, leading us toward Saturn. The ringed planet is one of the most breathtaking sights in space. If you could look at it up close, the rings wouldn't look solid. They're made of billions of icy pieces, each one reflecting sunlight like tiny mirrors. Saturn spins fast too, and even though it's huge, it's mostly gas, light enough that it could float if there were a giant bathtub big enough to hold it. There's something poetic about Saturn, massive and strong, but surrounded by fragile beauty. It's like a reminder that strength doesn't mean being hard. Sometimes it means carrying your elegance even when the world is spinning fast. By now, we've drifted millions of miles from home, but out here, it doesn't feel lonely. Every planet we pass has its own rhythm, its own personality. Mercury is fast and quiet. Venus glows with hidden fire. Earth breathes. Mars dreams. Jupiter roars and Saturn sings softly with its rings. It's like an orchestra, and the sun is the conductor, keeping everyone in time. So before we drift further, take a moment. Picture yourself floating above the solar system, seeing all of this at once. The glowing sun, the blue earth, the golden rings, the tiny dots spinning in perfect harmony. Doesn't it make you feel small, but in a good way? Like you're part of something vast and peaceful. That's the beauty of space. It reminds you that even when everything feels big, scary, or confusing down here, there's order up there. Quiet, beautiful order. As we drift farther from Saturn, the sunlight starts to fade. It's softer now, like the golden glow before sunset. Out here, the warmth feels weaker and shadows stretch longer. But in that dim light, a pale blue planet slowly appears in the distance. Uranus. It's calm, quiet, and a little mysterious, like that one person at a party who doesn't say much, but somehow draws your attention anyway. Uranus spins on its side, literally. Every planet in the solar system spins like a top, but Uranus rolls like a ball. Imagine if Earth suddenly tilted so much that the North Pole pointed straight at the Sun. That's Uranus. Scientists think something huge slammed into it long ago, knocking it over. But instead of falling apart, it just kept spinning, steady and cool. There's a weird kind of beauty in that, getting knocked down by the universe and still moving with grace. Its color, that dreamy light blue, comes from methane gas that absorbs red light and reflects blue. It looks peaceful, almost sleepy, like it's floating in a constant dream. The winds on Uranus can reach 900 kilometers per hour, but you'd never guess that by looking at it. It's a reminder that calm doesn't always mean still. Sometimes peace hides a quiet kind of power. And just when you think you've seen it all, Neptune comes into view. Deep blue, darker than any ocean on Earth, spinning fast with fierce storms that race around its surface. The winds there are the fastest in the solar system, over 2,000 kilometers per hour. But Neptune is far, far away, more than 4 billion kilometers from the Sun. That distance makes it mysterious, almost lonely, but in a beautiful way. It's like the last note of a song fading into silence. Neptune's largest moon, Triton, orbits backward, the opposite direction of Neptune's spin. Most moons follow their planet's dance, but Triton goes its own way, like it's saying, "I'll take my own path." Sometimes space feels like a mirror for our own lives. Every planet, every moon, every tiny piece of rock out there has its own story, a mix of chaos and calm, just like us. Now, beyond Neptune lies something special, a frozen border called the Kuiper Belt. It's full of icy worlds, tiny and ancient, leftovers from the time when planets were being born. One of them, of course, is Pluto, the little world that used to be a planet. People still argue about whether it should get that title back, but Pluto doesn't seem to mind. It just keeps orbiting in peace, far away from all the noise. Pluto is small, barely wider than the United States, but it has a big heart. Literally. When the New Horizons spacecraft flew past it in 2015, it found a bright heart-shaped area on its surface made of frozen nitrogen. It's like Pluto wanted to remind us that even the smallest worlds can have a big soul. Its moon, Karen, is almost as big as Pluto itself, and the two of them dance together like partners who never drift apart. When you think about how far Pluto is, it's hard not to feel something. Light from the sun takes 5.5 hours to reach it. That means if you were standing there and looked toward the sun, you'd see it like a bright star, not the big warm light we see here on Earth. It's quiet, cold, and endlessly peaceful. But even in that deep cold, there's beauty, the kind that makes you whisper instead of shout. And still, the solar system doesn't end there. Past Pluto, there's a region we barely understand, the Oort cloud. Imagine a giant bubble of icy objects surrounding the whole solar system, stretching halfway to the next star. That's the Oort cloud. We've never seen it directly, but scientists believe it's there, home to trillions of frozen comets waiting quietly in the dark. Every once in a while, one gets nudged by gravity and falls toward the sun, lighting up the sky for us on Earth. It's like a message from the edge of creation, saying, "Hey, don't forget how big this place really is." When you step back and picture all this, the sun, the planets, the belts of dust and ice, it's almost too much to take in. And yet it all works perfectly. Gravity holds everything in balance. The planets don't crash or drift away. They just keep circling year after year, like dancers who never miss a beat. It's kind of comforting knowing that even in the vastness of space, there's order, there's rhythm. Sometimes, when life feels messy or loud, thinking about that helps. The same force that keeps Saturn's rings in place also keeps your feet on the ground. The same sunlight that touches Neptune also warms your face when you step outside. You're not separate from space, you're part of it, made from it, actually. Every bit of iron in your blood and calcium in your bones was once part of a star that exploded long before the sun was born. You are, in the most literal way, made of stardust. And that's not just some poetic line, it's real science. Billions of years ago, when giant stars ran out of fuel, they exploded, throwing their elements across space. Those elements floated through the galaxy until they came together again, forming the sun, the planets, and eventually us. So every time your heart beats, it's a rhythm that started in the heart of a star. Think about that the next time you see the night sky. You're not just looking at stars, you're looking at family. Old, shining relatives who helped create everything you are. And that's why space feels both huge and familiar. It's not a faraway place, it's home, just in a different form. Out beyond Neptune, time feels slower. Light takes longer, cold bites deeper, and silence stretches forever. But it's peaceful there, not empty, not sad. Peaceful, like the world taking a long breath. Maybe that's what the edge of our solar system really is, not an ending, but a soft fade out. Like the credits rolling after a beautiful movie, letting you sit in the glow a little longer before the lights come back on. So, as we leave the known planets behind, remember this. The solar system isn't just science. It's a reminder that balance, patience, and quiet beauty can exist together. Everything out here takes its time, no rush, no panic. Just endless motion, calm and steady. And in that rhythm, in that quiet orbit, there's a kind of peace we can all learn from. Now, imagine you're drifting farther out from Mars, where the sunlight starts to fade a little. The warmth of the inner solar system slowly disappears, and space begins to feel colder, calmer, like a quiet ocean that never ends. Suddenly, a massive shape appears in the distance. It's Jupiter, the largest planet we have, spinning with power but moving so gracefully it almost feels alive. If Earth was a marble, Jupiter would be a beach ball, that's how huge it is. But don't worry, this giant isn't scary. In fact, there's something peaceful about watching it. Its surface is covered in swirling clouds, soft shades of brown, white, and orange, like cream mixing into coffee. Those bands of color are made of gas, moving around the planet in never-ending waves. It's like watching a storm that's been going on for hundreds of years, slow, steady, and strangely calming. And right there in the middle of those soft clouds lies the great red spot, a storm so big it could fit 3 Earths inside it. But here's the cool part. It's been swirling for over 300 years. Imagine that, a storm older than any city you know, still dancing quietly across the planet. If you could stand near it, you wouldn't hear thunder or lightning. You just see endless motion, like a giant piece of space art that never stops moving. That's the beauty of Jupiter. Even its chaos feels calm from afar. Now let's move a little further to a planet that looks like it's from a dream, Saturn. The moment you see it, you can't look away. Those rings are made of billions of tiny pieces of ice and rock, all circling together in perfect rhythm. From far away, they look smooth, like a record spinning in slow motion. If you could float near them, you'd see sunlight glimmering off each frozen piece, sparkling like diamonds in space. Some of those pieces are small as sand, others as big as houses. Yet somehow they all stay in line, moving together like a quiet dance. And Saturn itself, it's lighter than water. If there was a bathtub big enough, Saturn would float. Just imagine that for a second, a whole planet floating like a giant bubble. Its soft yellow color, the glow from its rings, and that calm spin, it's like the solar system's gentle heartbeat. When people see Saturn through a telescope for the first time, they usually just whisper, "Wow," because no words can really explain how peaceful it feels to look at something so perfectly built by nature. Saturn also has over 80 moons, each one unique, but one of them stands out: Titan. Titan has thick orange clouds and lakes made of liquid methane, not water. If you could walk there, you'd feel like you were inside a golden fog. It's cold and far away, but strangely peaceful. It reminds us that beauty doesn't always look like Earth. Sometimes it's hidden in frozen places, wrapped in mystery. As we drift farther, Saturn starts to fade behind us, and in the distance, two faint blue dots appear: Uranus and Neptune. They're often called the ice giants, but don't let that name fool you. Their blue color comes from methane gas, which gives them that cool, ocean-like glow. Uranus rolls around the sun on its side, like it's too chill to care what the rest are doing. It's the rebel of the solar system, spinning in its own relaxed way. If planets had personalities, Uranus would be that quiet kid who does everything differently but still makes it look easy. Then at the edge there's Neptune, the farthest major planet from the sun. Its winds are the fastest in the solar system, blowing over 1,000 miles per hour. But when you watch it from space, it doesn't look wild. It looks calm. The deep blue shade, the soft white clouds drifting by, and the faint sunlight touching its surface. It all feels peaceful, like the last wave of the ocean before it fades into the horizon. Neptune is like the quiet goodbye of the solar system, the final deep breath before the darkness of space takes over. When you think about it, every planet we've passed, from Mercury's heat to Neptune's cold, has its own kind of rhythm. Each one spins, drifts, and moves in silence, as if the whole solar system is part of one slow, endless song. And as you float through it in your mind, you realize how small we are, but also how connected we feel to it all. Because even in the quiet emptiness, there's a strange kind of peace. That's the thing about space. It's not just about science. It's about wonder. It makes you feel calm because it reminds you that the universe is huge, old, and still in perfect balance. While we rush through life, the planets just keep turning slow, steady, peaceful. So, take one more breath. Picture Saturn's rings glowing in the dark, Jupiter's storms spinning softly, and Neptune's blue light fading far away. We're only halfway through our journey, but already the solar system feels like a lullaby, one sung by the stars themselves. As we float past Neptune, the space around us grows quieter, like the sound has slowly faded away into nothing but a soft hum. But even here, in the calm shadows of space, there are still stories being told, not by planets this time, but by their moons. These little worlds might be small, but they hold so much mystery, beauty, and peace. Some shine like tiny lanterns in the dark, while others hide deep secrets under layers of ice and rock. Let's drift back toward Jupiter, because this giant doesn't travel alone. It's got more than 90 moons spinning around it, each one different, each one beautiful in its own quiet way. The biggest of them all is Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system. It's even bigger than Mercury. Imagine standing there, the sky filled with Jupiter's swirling colors, the great red spot glowing faintly above you. The surface beneath your feet would be frozen and gray, but the view, absolutely breathtaking. You'd feel small, but in the best way, like the universe is wrapping you in its silence. Then there's Europa, one of the most fascinating moons ever found. Its surface is bright and icy, covered in smooth cracks that look like lines in glass. Scientists believe there's an ocean hidden beneath that ice, a whole sea, deep and dark, stretching for miles. Can you imagine? A secret ocean under a frozen moon, far from the sun, possibly holding life that no one has ever seen. The thought alone gives you chills, but in a good way, the kind that makes you smile in wonder. Europa feels like a dream, a calm blue world keeping its secrets quietly, waiting for the right moment to whisper them. And then comes Io, Jupiter's wild child. Unlike Europa, it's not calm, it's alive with volcanoes. Its surface is orange and yellow, glowing with heat. But when you see it from far away, it looks like a glowing ember floating next to Jupiter's soft clouds. Even chaos, when seen from the right distance, can look peaceful like fire flickering in a dark room. Now, let's move again to Saturn's neighborhood, where things feel softer, colder, more delicate. Saturn's moons look like tiny snowballs floating in space. The most famous one, Titan, we already met with its golden haze and methane lakes. But Saturn has another moon called Enceladus, and it's something out of a fairy tale. It's small, covered in bright white ice that reflects the sunlight like a mirror. From cracks on its surface, icy water sprays into space like a frozen fountain. It's so beautiful, it almost feels alive. That spray forms Saturn's faint outer ring, so every time you see Saturn's ring sparkle, you're actually looking at tiny pieces of Enceladus shining back at you. There's something peaceful about that, right? How one small moon can quietly add beauty to a giant planet, drop by drop. It's like space's version of kindness, small things making big things more beautiful. Further out, Neptune has a moon called Triton, and it's unlike any other. It moves the wrong way around its planet, backward from all the others, but it still looks calm, covered in frost and pinkish ice. Triton is freezing cold, yet stunning in its silence. Sometimes it even has small geysers that shoot up icy plumes into the thin air. Picture that, a frozen world breathing quietly in the dark, under the dim light of a faraway sun. Even our own moon, the one we see almost every night, has that same quiet energy. It doesn't shine on its own, it reflects sunlight. It's like a gentle mirror for the Earth, watching over us while we sleep. Every crater, every mark on it tells a story of time, millions of years of stillness, patience, and survival. People have walked on it, left footprints that will stay for thousands of years. And yet, when you look up at it from Earth, it just feels peaceful, like a friend keeping you company in the dark. Moons remind us of something important. Even the small things in space matter. They don't make noise. They don't glow like stars, but they change everything around them. They pull at planets with their gravity, reflect light across the sky, and sometimes even create beauty we can see from billions of miles away. They're proof that silence can still be powerful. So as we float through this endless calm, surrounded by moons spinning slowly in the dark, think about how everything, big or small, has its place. The planets may rule the solar system, but the moons, they give it soul. Close your eyes for a moment and picture them. Europa's icy cracks shining under Jupiter's light, Titan's golden haze glowing softly, Enceladus spraying frozen mist into space, and our own moon smiling quietly above Earth. Each one is different, but together they make space feel alive, peaceful, mysterious, and endlessly comforting. Because even in the coldest, darkest parts of the universe, there's always light, and sometimes it comes from the quietest places. Before we drift too far from home, let's turn back and look at the center of it all, the sun. That glowing ball of fire we see every day isn't just a light in the sky. It's the heartbeat of our solar system, the thing that keeps everything alive and moving. From where we're floating, it looks calm, golden, and peaceful, like a slow, steady flame burning in the middle of endless darkness. But the truth is, it's alive with power. Inside that calm glow are storms so massive they could swallow the earth 100 times over. Yet somehow, from far away, it feels warm, steady, and safe. The sun is made mostly of hydrogen and helium, the same simple elements that fill most of the universe. But deep inside, those gases are constantly fusing, tiny particles smashing together to create pure energy. That energy travels through space, taking 8 minutes to reach Earth, where it becomes sunlight, the light that wakes us up, warms our faces, and makes everything on our planet grow. Every sunrise you've ever seen is a gift from that endless burning star, sitting 93 million miles away. If you could see the sun up close, which, of course, no one should try, you'd find it's not smooth at all. It's covered in glowing waves and dark spots that come and go like slow breaths. These sunspots are cooler areas that form because of magnetic energy twisting inside the sun. When that energy bursts free, it sends waves of particles flying through space, what scientists call solar flares. Sometimes those flares travel all the way to Earth, lighting up our skies with auroras, those beautiful green and purple lights near the poles. So when you see the northern lights dancing quietly across the sky, that's the sun's way of painting the night soft and silent from so far away. The sun may seem eternal, but it's also changing slowly, gently, over billions of years. Right now, it's about halfway through its life. It's been shining for 4.6 billion years and has around 5 billion more to go. One day, far in the future, it'll grow huge and red, swallowing Mercury and Venus, maybe even Earth. But don't worry, that's billions of years from now. For now, it's stable, warm, and patient, burning quietly like a candle that never flickers. When you think about it, the sun never takes a break. Every second, it sends out more energy than all of humanity has ever used in our entire history. Yet, despite that power, it doesn't feel harsh, it feels calm. On Earth, that sunlight turns into golden mornings, pink sunsets, and soft reflections on ocean waves. It gives us warmth, light, and color, things we often take for granted. But space has a way of reminding us just how precious those simple things are. Without the sun, the planets would drift away into cold darkness. There would be no seasons, no oceans, no trees, no life. Everything we know, from the tiniest flower to the tallest mountain, exists because of that steady fireball far away. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't roar or explode every day. It just shines quietly, constantly, beautifully. Imagine floating near it, not close enough to burn, but close enough to feel its warmth on your skin. The light would be golden and soft, like morning sunshine after a long night. You'd see streams of plasma twisting and swirling, like slow-motion flames moving to a rhythm only the universe understands. You'd realize that even something so powerful can still have grace. The sun also has a rhythm, an 11-year solar cycle, where its magnetic field flips and the number of sunspots rises and falls. Even stars, it seems, have moods. Some years it's more active, sending out more flares and energy. Other years it rests, glowing quietly like it's taking a deep cosmic breath. That rhythm is part of what makes space so peaceful. Everything, no matter how big or small, moves with patience. And when you think about it, the sun connects us all: Earth, Mars, Jupiter, even tiny Pluto. Every beam of light, every bit of warmth that touches a world, comes from the same place. It's the quiet thread tying the solar system together, reminding each planet that they belong to something bigger. Sometimes at sunset, when the sky turns orange and purple, it's easy to forget you're looking at the edge of space, at sunlight scattering through Earth's atmosphere after a 93-million-mile journey. That light that hits your face in that soft moment was born deep inside the sun, thousands of years ago, before it ever reached you. There's something magical about that, something peaceful. So next time you feel the sun on your skin, take a moment to breathe. Think about how it's been shining since before humans even existed. Think about how it will keep shining long after we're gone. It's not just a star. It's a reminder that warmth and light can exist even in the coldest, darkest places. The sun doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It simply glows, steady, patient, and full of life. As we drift away from the warm glow of the sun, space starts to grow darker again, not scary dark, but the kind of peaceful dark that makes you want to close your eyes and just listen. Out here between Mars and Jupiter lies something that feels like a cosmic memory: the asteroid belt. It's not as crowded as movies make it seem. You wouldn't be dodging rocks left and right. Instead, you'd be floating through an ocean of quiet stone, each piece drifting calmly through space, minding its own business. These asteroids are the leftovers of creation, the pieces that never came together to form a planet. They've been floating here for billions of years, moving slowly like the universe's forgotten puzzle pieces. Some are tiny, the size of pebbles. Others, like Ceres, are big enough to be called dwarf planets. If you could land on one, you'd find a world of dusty gray rock, cold as ice and silent as time itself. There'd be no wind, no sound, just the crunch of your boots on ancient stone, and the feeling that you're walking through the oldest museum in existence. Ceres is special. It's the biggest object in the asteroid belt, and it even has a bit of ice beneath its surface. In 2015, a spacecraft called Dawn visited it and found bright white spots, patches of salt and ice that reflect sunlight like mirrors. Imagine that, tiny glimmers shining in the dark, sparkling softly in the distance. They look like stars sitting on a rocky world whispering, "We're still here." Further out, some asteroids wander away from the belt, traveling through the solar system on their own. They're called near-Earth objects, and they sometimes pass close to us. Not dangerously close most of the time, but close enough to remind us that the universe is alive and always moving. These space rocks have been around since before Earth was born, carrying the same materials that helped form our world. When you see a shooting star, that's one of them burning up in our sky, just a tiny piece of cosmic history lighting up for a second before fading away. And then there are the comets, the travelers, the dreamers of the solar system. They come from far beyond the planets, from a place called the Oort cloud, a frozen shell surrounding everything we know. Comets are like space snowballs, made of ice, rock, and dust. When they get close to the sun, the heat makes them glow, forming a beautiful tail that stretches across the sky. That tail isn't smoke, it's sunlight bouncing off tiny bits of dust and gas, turning the comet into a floating lantern in space. There's something deeply relaxing about that, isn't there? A lonely ball of ice drifting for thousands of years through the dark, only to come close to the sun, light up for a short time, and then fade quietly back into the cold. It's like the universe's version of a heartbeat, appearing and disappearing in slow rhythm. One of the most famous comets is Halley's Comet. It visits us every 76 years, a regular guest in Earth's sky. People have watched it for centuries, ancient civilizations, astronomers, dreamers. Every time it returns, it reminds humanity that time moves slowly out here. Our lives are short, but the cosmos keeps its own gentle schedule. When Halley's Comet passes by next time, new generations will look up at it just like we do now, with wonder, peace, and maybe a soft smile. If you were floating near a comet, you'd see sunlight glinting off its icy surface, like glitter scattered in the dark. Little particles would drift away slowly, creating a long, glowing tail that sways as it moves. No sound, no rush, just the slow rhythm of space breathing. The tail can stretch millions of miles, but it's so delicate that if you flew through it, you wouldn't even feel a thing. Just light and dust, softly dancing in the solar wind. Comets and asteroids may seem simple, but they carry the oldest stories of the solar system. They're made of the same materials that built the planets, maybe even the same stuff that brought water and life to Earth. Think about that. Every time you drink a glass of water, some of those molecules might have come from a comet billions of years ago. The same frozen travelers that drift quietly in space could be part of what makes us human. It's humbling, right? The idea that we're connected to everything, not just the stars and planets, but to these small, forgotten wanderers. They remind us that even the tiniest pieces of the universe have a purpose. So as we float past them, let's take a moment to appreciate their calm. The asteroids, turning slowly in the dark, the comets glowing softly as they drift through sunlight. They don't rush, they don't fight, they don't crash around endlessly. They move with patience, following their paths like they've done for billions of years. And maybe that's something we can learn from them, to move at our own pace, to shine quietly when it's our time, and to rest when it's not. The universe isn't in a hurry. It just flows peacefully, eternally. So let's drift with it. Let's float among these gentle wanderers and feel the calm of knowing that everything, even the coldest stone and faintest light, has its place in the great quiet of space. Now we drift farther than we've ever gone before, past Neptune, past the glowing trails of comets, into the quiet edge of our solar system. Out here, sunlight is weak and soft, like the glow of a candle seen from miles away. The space around us feels endless, still, and beautifully lonely. This is the Kuiper Belt, a vast stretch of icy worlds and frozen dust circling the sun at the very edge of everything we know. It's calm out here, no bright planets, no loud storms, just silence and starlight. Floating among this frozen crowd is a little world that once stole everyone's heart, Pluto. For years it was known as the ninth planet, but scientists later reclassified it as a dwarf planet. Some people felt sad about that, like Pluto got left out of the family. But in truth, Pluto never stopped being special. It's still one of the most mysterious and beautiful worlds out here, quietly spinning in its lonely orbit, about 3.7 billion miles from the Sun. If you could stand on Pluto, you'd see a sky so dark that the stars would shine like diamonds. The Sun would only look like a bright star, but its light would still stretch across the icy ground, making everything shimmer with a faint blue glow. The air is thin, almost nothing, and the ground beneath your feet would crunch like frozen sand. It's so cold here, nearly minus 230 degrees C, that even nitrogen turns solid. Mountains made of ice rise into the soft light, and wide plains of frozen methane stretch for miles. When NASA's New Horizons spacecraft visited Pluto in 2015, it showed us something incredible. This tiny world isn't just a dull rock. It has heart-shaped plains, icy cliffs, and even layers of haze floating above its surface. One region, called Sputnik Planitia, looks like a frozen ocean that once may have moved and shifted, almost like it's alive. That giant heart shape, glowing softly in sunlight, became a symbol proof that even the smallest worlds have beauty worth exploring. Pluto also has moons, the biggest one being Charon. It's so large compared to Pluto that the two actually orbit each other, like slow dancers spinning in the dark. From Pluto's surface, you'd see Charon hanging huge in the sky, close enough to make the horizon glow faintly. The two have been locked together for billions of years, quiet companions in the emptiness, never drifting apart. There's something touching about that, isn't there? In all this loneliness, they found balance. As we float away from Pluto, we see more tiny worlds scattered through the Kuiper Belt, names like Haumea, Makemake, and Eris. They're distant, faint, and icy, each spinning slowly in its own orbit. Some are stretched out like footballs, others have rings or small moons of their own. They're quiet and patient, frozen in time, untouched for billions of years. If the solar system were a song, this part would be the softest verse, slow, gentle, and filled with space to breathe. Beyond the Kuiper belt lies something even more mysterious, the Oort cloud. No one has ever seen it directly, but scientists believe it surrounds our solar system like a giant bubble of icy debris. It's where most comets are born, drifting there in silence until gravity pulls them toward the sun. It's so far away that the edge of it might be halfway to the next star. Imagine that, the faint border between our home and the deep unknown, glowing faintly in the cold dark. What's peaceful about this part of the universe is how still it feels. There's no rush here. The objects move slowly, following the same orbits they've had since the solar system began. You could watch them for 1,000 years and they'd hardly change. Out here, time doesn't feel the same. It stretches, softens, becomes almost meaningless. And yet, even in this silence, there's comfort. Pluto, Charon, and all the icy travelers remind us that even the smallest, most distant things matter. They're part of the grand pattern, moving gracefully at the edge of everything we know. They don't shine bright, but they don't need to. Their beauty lies in their stillness. It's easy to forget that these frozen worlds are made of the same stuff as us: carbon, water, nitrogen. The same elements that form our bodies, our oceans, and our air are drifting out here, billions of miles away. It's like the universe scattered pieces of itself everywhere, reminding us that no matter how far apart things are, they're still connected. When you think about it, Pluto isn't less than a planet. It's a symbol of quiet strength. It stayed true to its path, moving slowly around the sun, even as the rest of the world changed how it was defined. There's something peaceful about that, doing your own thing, staying steady, no matter what others say. So as we drift farther out, watching Pluto fade into a tiny dot surrounded by the endless dark, take a moment to appreciate the calm. Out here, there's no noise, no rush, no chaos, just frozen worlds gliding in slow motion, following their paths through eternity. And beyond them, the unknown, the deep black ocean of interstellar space. It's quiet, mysterious, and infinite. But don't be afraid. It's the kind of quiet that feels safe, like the world is tucking you in for the night. Because even at the edge of everything, the universe hums the same gentle tune. You belong here too. You know what's kinda wild? The sun, that big glowing ball in the sky, isn't actually standing still. It's moving too, cruising around the center of our galaxy at roughly 220 kilometers per second. Yeah, the whole solar system is basically hitching a ride through the Milky Way, spinning around like a cosmic merry-go-round that never stops. And it takes us about 230 million years to make just one full lap. Imagine that. One solar system year is longer than the time since dinosaurs ruled Earth. Makes your everyday worries feel pretty small, huh? Now picture this. If you could somehow watch the sun's movement from far, far away, you'd see it dragging all the planets behind it like glowing marbles tied to a moving kite. We're all following that same path together: Mercury racing close to the fire, Neptune chilling way in the back, all orbiting like a family on a long road trip through space. It's calm, it's steady, and kinda poetic when you think about it. And speaking of family, ever notice how every planet has its own personality? Mercury's the restless little brother, always darting around, never sitting still. Venus is like that mysterious cousin, covered in thick clouds, keeping secrets under all that heat. Mars, totally the dreamer, red, dusty, quiet, always making us wonder if it once had life. Jupiter's the big protector. Its huge gravity catches asteroids before they can smash into us. Saturn, the show-off, spinning around with those shining rings, like it's wearing the best jewelry in the galaxy. Uranus is the oddball, literally rolling on its side. And Neptune, that one's the quiet wanderer at the edge of the neighborhood, whispering to the darkness. What's really peaceful about all this is how balanced it feels. Space might look wild, but everything is held in perfect rhythm. Every planet knows its path. Every moon knows its dance. It's like the universe has its own heartbeat. You can almost feel it if you close your eyes, slow, steady, eternal. And get this, the sun isn't just light, it's a soundless explosion happening every second. Inside, hydrogen atoms are fusing into helium, releasing more energy each second than humans have ever used in all of history. But because there's no air in space, we never hear it. The biggest sound in the universe is silence. Isn't that crazy comforting? Sometimes, when astronauts are up there looking back at Earth, they say it's the quiet that hits them hardest. No sound, no rush, just floating in soft blackness, watching our blue planet spin below. You realize then, we're not just living in space, we're a part of it. Every breath, every heartbeat, every sunrise, it all comes from the same cosmic rhythm. So next time you step outside at night, don't just see stars. Think of the sun speeding around the galaxy, dragging us all along for the ride. Think of the quiet teamwork holding everything together, gravity, motion, balance, and time, all moving in perfect peace. Space isn't just out there, it's in us too. You ever think about how tiny we are? Like, really tiny. Imagine holding a grain of sand in your hand. Now picture that little speck floating in a huge, endless dark ocean. That's Earth in the solar system. It's humbling, but also kinda soothing, right? Because even though we're small, we're part of something massive, something beautiful and perfectly in balance. Let's start with something peaceful, the moon. Our moon isn't just a rock in the sky, it's like Earth's best friend. It keeps us steady, literally. Without it, our planet would wobble like a spinning top that's about to fall. The moon's gravity pulls on our oceans, making tides rise and fall in a slow, relaxing rhythm, almost like the Earth is breathing. And that same moon has been watching over every generation before us. Every night, it glows softly like a nightlight for the whole planet. There's something so comforting about knowing the same moon you're staring at has shined over kings, poets, explorers, and lovers for thousands of years. Now let's float over to Mars for a second. The red planet, cold, dusty, quiet. The sunsets there aren't red like ours, they're blue. Imagine standing on that empty desert world, watching the sky fade into a soft blue glow as the day ends. No sound, no breeze, just calm stillness and a soft light wrapping around the horizon. It feels lonely, yeah, but also peaceful, like space itself is giving you a moment to breathe. And then there's Jupiter, the protector of the solar system. Its gravity is so powerful it pulls in comets and asteroids before they can hit us. It's like a big older brother standing guard, keeping the smaller ones safe. The storms on Jupiter are massive, some larger than Earth, but they've been spinning for hundreds of years. which means even chaos in space can have its own kind of order. If you could watch Jupiter from up close, you'd see clouds swirling like cream in coffee, all moving in patterns that somehow never collide. It's wild and relaxing at the same time. But the one that always gets me is Saturn. Those rings, man, they're made of ice, dust, and rock, and they stretch out hundreds of thousands of miles. Yet if you stood on Saturn's surface, well, if you could, you wouldn't even feel them. They're fragile, thin, delicate, like nature's most perfect art piece. Sometimes I think Saturn's rings are like a cosmic reminder that even the biggest things can be gentle. And here's something cool in the quiet of space. Nothing ever truly ends. The particles that make up your body, your thoughts, your heartbeat, they were once part of stars. Billions of years ago, when a giant star exploded, it spread its atoms everywhere, and those same atoms became part of you. That means you're literally made of stardust. Every time you look up at the night sky, you're looking at where you came from. It's funny, we spend so much time worrying about little things, chasing goals, stressing out, but space doesn't rush. The planets take their time. The stars shine for billions of years without hurrying. It's like the universe is whispering, slow down. You're exactly where you're meant to be. So next time you feel overwhelmed, remember you're spinning through space on a perfect blue world, balanced by the pull of the moon, protected by giant planets, warmed by the sun, and surrounded by stars made of the same stuff as you. You're part of the biggest, calmest masterpiece there is, the solar system. Ever just step outside at night, look up, and feel that quiet hum in your chest, that little reminder that we're floating through space right now? It's wild to think about, but at this very second we're cruising through the galaxy at thousands of miles per hour, and yet everything feels calm. The stars don't rush. The planets don't bump. The universe just flows. Peaceful, endless, and steady. Let's drift closer to Venus for a moment. You might have heard it's called Earth's twin, but honestly, it's like the moody sister in the family. Same size, same structure, but her vibe, totally different. Her clouds are thick with acid. Her surface hot enough to melt lead, yeah, she's intense. But here's something kind of beautiful. Those same clouds make her shine brighter than any planet in our night sky. So bright, you can sometimes see her right after sunset or before sunrise. That's why they call her the evening star or the morning star. Even though her surface is chaos from far away, she glows like peace itself. Maybe there's a little lesson in that. Even the toughest places can shine beautifully from the right distance. Now, Mercury, this tiny, fast dude, he's the speed racer of the solar system. It zooms around the sun in just 88 days. Imagine having a birthday every 3 months. It's so close to the sun that daytime there can reach almost 800 degrees F, but at night, it drops below minus 300 degrees F. No atmosphere to hold the heat, just pure, quiet emptiness. If you stood there and looked at the black sky, the sun would look almost 3 times bigger than it does on Earth. You'd see endless light, no air to scatter it, no blue sky, just raw sunlight cutting through dark space. It's harsh but strangely beautiful. And then, out in the distance, there's Neptune, the planet of deep blue dreams. It's cold, dark, and incredibly far away, but it's also got some of the most violent winds in the solar system, winds faster than the speed of sound. Crazy, right? But if you looked at it from space, it would just look calm and still, like a sapphire floating in black velvet. It's proof that even something wild can look peaceful from afar. Neptune's like that person who's quiet on the outside but has a whole storm going on inside, strong, silent, and mysterious. You know what else is beautiful? The way light moves out there. It takes sunlight 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. So every sunrise you see is technically from the past. You're looking at light that left the sun more than 8 minutes ago. Every star you see at night is even older. Some of them may have already burned out, but their light is still traveling to you. You're literally looking back in time when you stargaze. That's the magic of the universe. It lets us see echoes of what once was. Even comets, those icy wanderers, tell stories of the past. They come from way beyond Pluto, carrying frozen dust from when the solar system was just forming. When one passes close to the sun, it heats up and glows, leaving a long, shining tail behind. People used to think they were omens, signs from the heavens. But really, they're just old travelers, reminding us how ancient and vast space really is. And here's something that always gives me chills. In the middle of all this movement, all this infinite space, there's silence. Total, perfect silence. Sound can't travel in a vacuum, so if you shouted in space, no one would ever hear it. The biggest explosions, the brightest stars, all of it happens without a sound. It's the quietest chaos you could imagine. And somehow, that silence feels peaceful, not empty, like the universe is whispering in its own way. So while you're sitting here, listening, breathing slow, think about this. You're part of this silent orchestra. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, your breath, they're all made of the same atoms that built the stars. You're not separate from space. You're just one small note in its endless, cosmic song. Let's drift a little deeper now, out where the sunlight fades and the cold starts to bite. That's where Pluto lives, the quiet outcast of our solar system. Poor Pluto got demoted from planet status back in 2006, but you know what? That doesn't make it any less fascinating. It's tiny, yeah, smaller than our moon, but it's got a big heart. Literally. When NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew by in 2015, it sent back photos showing a giant heart-shaped glacier on Pluto's surface. It's made of frozen nitrogen, but it looks like the planet's wearing its heart right on its chest. Kinda sweet, right? Even way out there in the cold dark, Pluto's got heart. The sunlight on Pluto is so weak that it would feel like twilight here on Earth, not dark, but not bright either. Just a soft, endless dim glow. If you stood there and looked up, the sun would only look like a bright star in the sky, not the big burning ball we see from Earth. And yet, even that faint light travels almost 6 billion kilometers just to reach it. That's patience. That's persistence. That's peace. And here's something that blows my mind. Pluto has 5 moons, and one of them, Charon, is almost as big as Pluto itself. They're so close in size that they actually orbit each other like dance partners, spinning in perfect rhythm. Neither one dominates. They just move together, quietly, gracefully. It's like the universe built them to remind us that balance and connection can exist anywhere, even 6 billion kilometers from the sun. Now imagine the silence there. No wind, no sound. Just ice plains stretching out forever, mountains made of frozen water, and stars scattered across a black sky that never ends. If there's peace anywhere, it's there in that frozen calm, far from everything loud and busy. And speaking of calm, let's talk about space dust. Yeah, the tiny bits of rock and ice floating all around us. You'd think they're nothing, but every meteor shower you see comes from them. When Earth passes through these dusty trails left by comets, they burn up in our atmosphere, lighting up the night with shooting stars. Every streak you see is a tiny piece of space saying hello before fading away. It's such a small thing, but it feels so magical, like the skies putting on a quiet show just for you. Even the space between planets, the so-called empty space, isn't really empty. It's filled with particles, magnetic waves, and light traveling for billions of miles. It's like a soft ocean made of invisible ripples. Everything moves through it, planets, light, dust, even time itself. And yet, it all stays balanced. The universe never rushes, never crashes, just flows. You know, sometimes I think about how our solar system looks from far away. To an alien watching from another galaxy, our sun would just be one tiny dot among billions. But around that one dot, us. Earth, life, oceans, laughter, dreams, love. Everything that matters to us is circling that one small star. And that makes you realize even the tiniest light can hold entire worlds of meaning. So as we drift through this endless dark, remember Pluto's quiet heart, the slow dance of its moons, and the gentle patience of space dust turning into starlight. The solar system isn't just science, it's poetry written in orbit, light, and time. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture it all: the frozen plains of Pluto, the glowing tail of a comet, the stars whispering from far beyond. Everything moving, everything connected, everything calm. That's the magic of space. It's not just out there, it's part of the rhythm inside you too. You know, the more we drift through this cosmic ocean, the more it starts to feel like the solar system is alive, not in a heartbeat kind of way, but in rhythm and harmony. Everything out there moves like it's part of a song. The sun hums at the center, the planets spin to its rhythm, and the moons dance around them like tiny backup singers. It's so smooth, so quiet, so perfectly timed. It's like the universe figured out the meaning of peace long before we did. Let's float closer to Jupiter again, the big boss of planets. It's a monster. More than 1,300 Earths could fit inside it. But even with all that size, it's graceful. It spins faster than any other planet, one full rotation every 10 hours. That means if you were standing there, you'd see a full day and night pass in less than half an Earth day. The clouds race across its surface, forming stripes and swirls that look like they were painted with a giant brush. There's even a storm there, the Great Red Spot, that's been spinning for at least 300 years. It's huge, powerful, and ancient, yet it's oddly calming to watch. Like watching a slow fire dance in the distance, dangerous but hypnotic. And get this, Jupiter gives off more heat than it receives from the sun. It's still glowing from the energy of its birth. That's right, even after billions of years, it's still warm inside, still burning quietly like an old soul that refuses to go cold. That kind of persistence is beautiful. Now think about its moons. Jupiter has more than 90 moons, each one a little world of its own. Some of them are wild, like Io, which is covered in volcanoes that constantly erupt, painting its surface in yellow and red. Others are peaceful, like Europa, with its smooth ice shell hiding a massive ocean underneath. Scientists think there might even be life there, tiny creatures swimming in dark, salty water under miles of ice. Imagine that little alien fish, living in total darkness, floating quietly while the rest of the universe races on above them. That's kinda poetic, right? And while we're here, think about how far that light travels. From the Sun to Jupiter, light takes about 43 minutes to arrive. So if you could somehow look up from Europa's icy surface and see the Sun, you'd be looking at light that left almost an hour ago. Time just stretches out there. Everything slows down. Every second feels like eternity. It's funny how in space, distance makes time feel different. A minute on Earth feels quick, but out there it's a journey. Light has to work for it, fighting through billions of miles of silence. But it always gets there. Always. Maybe there's a lesson in that even the slowest, hardest paths can still lead to light if you just keep moving. And speaking of light, imagine standing on one of Jupiter's moons, looking up at that giant planet filling half the sky. You'd see bands of orange, brown, and white swirling across its surface, lightning flashing through its clouds, and in the background the faint twinkle of the sun, tiny and distant. No sound, just motion, just beauty. Sometimes I think about how humans sent a little spacecraft, Voyager, to explore all of this. It left Earth in 1977 and is now more than 14 billion miles away, still traveling, still sending back whispers from the edge of space. On it there's a golden record full of music, greetings, sounds of Earth, just in case someone someday finds it. That means right now, somewhere beyond the planets, our voices are floating in the dark, carrying laughter, music, and hope into the unknown. Isn't that the most peaceful kind of adventure? So as you breathe right now, think about this: you're not just lying still. You're spinning with Earth, orbiting the Sun, moving through space with the solar system, and drifting through the galaxy itself. You're part of this endless cosmic flow. Everything's moving, yet everything feels still. That's the kind of calm only the universe can teach. All right, let's drift a little further out, past Jupiter and its moons, and peek at Saturn, the one everyone thinks about when they imagine rings. But man, it's so much more than just a fancy jewelry planet. First off, Saturn is huge, but it's kind of a soft giant. If you could drop it in a giant cosmic bathtub, it would float. Yep, it's less dense than water. Wild, right? You think of something that big and you imagine it heavy, crushing everything nearby. But nope, it's just softly puffed out there, spinning in space. And those rings, oh, those rings. They're like glitter frozen in time. Ice, dust, tiny bits of rock all dancing together in a slow motion waltz around the planet. Some of the pieces are bigger than houses, some smaller than a pebble, and they all just float, quietly tracing the invisible lines of gravity. They didn't always exist, and they won't last forever. Over millions of years, the rings slowly fall into Saturn, pulled in by gravity or knocked by collisions. So what we see now is a fleeting masterpiece, like a cosmic art installation that's here for just a blink of time. That makes looking at Saturn feel even more special, doesn't it? Like catching a rare scene in a movie you'll never see again. Saturn has over 80 moons, and they're a crazy mix of worlds. Titan, the biggest, has a thick orange atmosphere, lakes of liquid methane, and winds that sweep across its surface like some alien desert. Imagine standing there, heavy orange skies, lakes glistening under a sun barely bigger than a bright streetlight in the sky. And then there's Enceladus, a tiny icy moon, but it's spitting jets of water into space. Scientists think it has a liquid ocean under its frozen crust, and maybe, just maybe, life could hide there in the dark, salty waters. That tiny moon, barely more than a dot in the sky, could hold secrets that rival Earth's oceans. And think about the journey of sunlight to Saturn. It's about 80 minutes from the sun. So the light that warms Titan or Saturn's icy moons is older than your lunch break or even your entire afternoon. By the time it gets there, it's slowed down across the void, carrying warmth through billions of miles of silence. That's a kind of quiet magic, don't you think? Now, let's pause a second and imagine standing on one of those moons, maybe Enceladus, staring at the rings stretching across the sky. They'd be so bright, so close, they'd fill your vision with icy bands shimmering in the dim sunlight. No sound, just the soft glint of ice particles reflecting a distant sun. It's the kind of view that makes you feel small, sure, but also part of something so much bigger. Peaceful in a way words can't really capture. Even the storms on Saturn have their own quiet rhythm. The winds can roar at over 1,000 miles per hour, whipping clouds in a fast blur, yet from afar, the planet looks like a calm, serene globe with stripes of yellow, gold, and brown. The contrast between chaos and calm, fury and stillness, is what makes the solar system so mesmerizing. Every planet has its own heartbeat, its own story, its own way of quietly singing through space. And here's a thought that always blows my mind. The particles in Saturn's rings could be remnants of moons that broke apart, or leftover debris from collisions millions of years ago. So, in a way, the rings are like a history book, frozen in ice, silently telling tales of violent impacts and cosmic reshuffles. You're literally looking at the past when you gaze at those rings. It's history and beauty all spinning around together. Finally, just think of how tiny and delicate we are in comparison, yet somehow, we're here, studying these wonders, sending spacecraft, capturing images, and learning their secrets. Saturn reminds us of two things. One, how magnificent the universe can be, and two, how quiet and humbling it feels to witness it. That quiet is the kind that seeps into your soul, makes your shoulders relax, and your mind wander softly into awe. Let's drift even farther out, past Saturn, and swing by Uranus, the tilted, icy blue giant that spins like it's rolling down a hill. Man, Uranus is a planet that doesn't do anything halfway. Its axis is tilted almost 98 degrees, which basically means it's lying on its side as it orbits the sun. Imagine a spinning top that's completely sideways, rolling along, and that's Uranus for you. The seasons there are totally wild. One pole bakes in sunlight for 42 years while the other is frozen in darkness. Can you even picture that? 4 decades of sun or night. That's like a lifetime of summers and winters in one polar spot. Crazy. And its color, that soft, serene blue, comes from methane in the atmosphere, which absorbs the reds and reflects the blues. It's like a giant sapphire floating in the void. No storms like Jupiter or Saturn's wild tempests, at least not many visible ones. But the calmness hides subtle winds and hidden clouds, quietly swirling, whispering secrets of the planet's icy interior. Uranus has rings too, though they're thin, dark, and shy compared to Saturn's glittering show. They were discovered in 1977, and honestly, they're a bit mysterious. Made of tiny rocks and dust, some of them barely more than boulders, they drift along Uranus' equator in quiet order, invisible to the naked eye from Earth. But if you were up close, those faint rings would stretch across the sky like a shadowy halo. A subtle, haunting kind of beauty. Now let's talk moons. Uranus has 27 known moons, and they're as quirky as the planet itself. Titania, Oberon, Miranda, each has its own story etched in ice and rock. Miranda is especially wild. Its surface looks like a jigsaw puzzle, with giant cliffs and ridges that twist like they were crumpled by some cosmic hand. Scientists think Miranda got smashed and reshaped by impacts long ago, leaving scars that tell the tale of Uranus' violent past. Yet even with all that chaos, the moons silently orbit their tilted giant, dancing in the shadow of a planet that doesn't play by the usual rules. One of the coolest things about Uranus is that it was discovered in 1781 by William Herschel with a telescope. Can you imagine spotting a new planet back then, looking through a simple scope, and realizing, whoa, there's something new out there? Before Uranus, humans only knew the planets visible to the naked eye, but Herschel opened the door to modern planetary discovery. Suddenly, the solar system wasn't just the old familiar planets. It was bigger, stranger, and way more mysterious. And check this out. Uranus' magnetic field isn't aligned like Earth's or Jupiter's. It's off-kilter, tilted more than the planet itself. So, charged particles zip along crazy paths, creating auroras near the poles that are totally unlike anything we see on Earth. Imagine lights flickering in the sky, but on a world where the sun barely warms the icy clouds, eerie, alien, and mesmerizing. Even the journey of sunlight to Uranus is something to think about. It takes about 2 hours and 40 minutes for light to reach the planet. So the blue you see isn't the sun's light right now, but from hours ago. It's a gentle reminder of the quiet delay of cosmic time. That space isn't instant, it's patient, and the universe moves to its own calm rhythm. And here's a little secret. Uranus may have an internal heat source, even though it looks so cold and still. Scientists aren't totally sure why, but the planet might be slowly releasing leftover heat from its formation, or the tilt and gravitational nudges from its moons could be flexing it ever so slightly. Either way, underneath that calm blue exterior, there's energy quietly stirring, unseen, like a lullaby humming through the ice. Flying past Uranus, you can almost feel the emptiness around it. The planet drifts far from the sun, cold and lonely, but peaceful in its isolation. There's a strange beauty in that silence. No storms tearing across its face, no massive rings glittering in the light, just a serene blue world rolling sideways, whispering cosmic secrets to anyone patient enough to notice. All right, now let's float even farther out, way past Uranus and meet Neptune, the deep blue enigma of the solar system. Man, Neptune is like the quiet cousin that suddenly shows up and stuns everyone. It's smaller than Uranus but packs way more punch with crazy winds that can whip at over 1,200 miles per hour. Can you even imagine that? That's faster than any hurricane we've ever seen on Earth, tearing across a planet that's colder than ice cream left in the freezer for a century. Yet from a distance, it looks calm and majestic, like a sapphire drifting silently in the void. Its rich blue color comes, like Uranus, from methane in the atmosphere, but Neptune's deeper hue hints at hidden storms and swirling clouds that play hide-and-seek across the sky. Sometimes giant dark spots appear, massive storm systems bigger than Earth itself. They're like cosmic hurricanes, spiraling and changing shape, reminding us that even at the edge of the solar system, chaos and energy never fully sleep. Neptune has 14 known moons, and the largest of them, Triton, is a total rebel. Unlike most moons that happily orbit their planets in the same direction, Triton goes backward, a retrograde orbit that screams, "I don't belong here naturally." Scientists think Triton was captured long ago, probably a wanderer from the Kuiper belt that Neptune snatched into its gravitational grasp. And that capture, it likely caused all sorts of chaos, smashing Neptune's earlier moons, twisting Triton's interior, and giving it tidal heating that still makes the frozen world geologically active. Triton even has geysers, geysers, spitting nitrogen into space. Imagine a frozen moon with an icy crust and plumes erupting like a whisper of energy from a hidden engine underneath. Its surface looks like cantaloupe skin, all weird ridges and bumps, and beneath that frozen layer, there might be a salty ocean hiding secrets that we can only dream of exploring. Triton is basically a frozen time capsule, showing us the wild life of the outer solar system, and proving that even captured worlds can have their own kind of magic. And Neptune itself wasn't exactly obvious to early astronomers. Before it was officially discovered in 1846, some people may have glimpsed it through telescopes and just assumed it was another star or maybe Uranus playing tricks. Its movement is slow and subtle, drifting almost invisibly across the dark sky. It took smart mathematicians to notice tiny irregularities in Uranus's orbit to finally predict Neptune's existence, a cosmic game of hide-and-seek that ended with a big reveal. Neptune's rings are shy and faint, hardly the glittering displays of Saturn. Made mostly of dust and tiny rocks, some of the rings might even be young in cosmic terms, forming from shattered moons or leftover debris. They're delicate, ephemeral like whispers around the icy giant. And orbiting Neptune, the smaller moons are just as mysterious. Some are likely captured, others born from collisions, all dancing in eccentric paths, silent companions to a lonely, distant world. Now think about light traveling to Neptune. Sunlight takes about 4 hours to reach this icy giant. So if you were standing on Triton or Neptune's upper clouds, the sun you see is already hours old. Time slows down a little when you're at the edge of the solar system, stretching moments into quiet, vast stretches of cosmic calm. Even Neptune itself hides heat beneath its blue surface. Scientists believe it has internal energy, left over from its formation, that powers storms and winds far stronger than anything Earth has ever seen. Beneath the serene, cold blue, there's a restless heart, a reminder that quiet doesn't always mean still. Drifting past Neptune, you're entering the outer frontier, the realm of icy bodies, dwarf planets, and the mysterious Kuiper Belt. It's the edge of our familiar neighborhood, where sunlight is weak, and the universe whispers in colder, slower tones. This is where the solar system feels both infinite and intimate, a vast expanse where every object, moon, and speck of ice carries a story older than any human memory. From the distant storms to the icy moons, Neptune is a testament to the quiet power of the outer solar system. It reminds us that even in the farthest reaches, energy, mystery, and motion never fully rest. They just move slower, waiting for the curious eyes brave enough to reach them. Now let's drift even farther out, past Neptune, into the wild and frozen frontier of the Kuiper Belt, a place that feels like the outer edge of a cosmic winter wonderland. This isn't just empty space. It's packed with icy rocks, dwarf planets, and mysterious wanderers, all orbiting the sun like frozen sentinels in the darkness. Imagine flying past tiny, icy worlds that haven't changed much in billions of years, frozen fossils of the early solar system, each one carrying secrets of how planets and moons first formed. One of the most famous residents of this frozen belt is Pluto, the little rebel that once proudly held the title of the ninth planet. Pluto's not just a tiny ball of ice. It's a complex world, with mountains made of water ice, plains of frozen nitrogen, and a thin, hazy atmosphere that swells and shrinks as it travels around the sun. Its surface glows in subtle reds and browns, with bright icy regions that catch sunlight and glow like lanterns in the cold. And Pluto has 5 known moons, the largest being Charon, which is so big it almost acts like a twin planet, orbiting together in a slow cosmic dance that's mesmerizing to imagine. Even smaller Kuiper Belt objects like Makemake, Haumea, and Eris are fascinating in their own right. Haumea spins so fast that it's stretched into a weird rugby ball shape, while Eris is almost as massive as Pluto, but cloaked in an icy veil that makes it shine faintly in the dark. These worlds are relics, leftovers from the chaotic formation of the solar system, untouched and unbothered, drifting silently through the void. And then there's the mysterious Oort cloud, a theorized shell of icy bodies even farther out, forming a sphere that may stretch nearly a light year from the sun. This is the ultimate outer frontier, where gravity from passing stars can tug icy comets into new paths, sending them hurtling toward the inner solar system. Some of the comets we see streaking across our skies might have been born here, traveling for millions of years before finally showing themselves in a brilliant flash of ice and light. Speaking of comets, these icy travelers are like messages from the deep past. When a comet swings close to the sun, the heat vaporizes its frozen surface, releasing gas and dust that form a glowing tail. But here's the cool part. The tail always points away from the sun, pushed by the solar wind, creating a luminous banner that whispers the story of sunlight and space in motion. So every time you see a comet streaking across the night sky, remember, It's a frozen time capsule carrying ancient secrets all the way from the edge of the solar system. Even though this region is incredibly cold, like hundreds of degrees below zero, it's alive in its own slow-motion way. Objects drift, collide, and sometimes break apart, creating tiny rings of debris or even forming moons far from any planet's influence. Gravity is weaker here, sunlight is faint, and yet motion never fully stops. Each icy rock or dwarf planet moves like a quiet dancer in the dark, a gentle rhythm shaped by billions of years of cosmic history. Some scientists think that hidden in this region could be Planet 9, a mysterious giant tugging at distant objects, unseen, but leaving a gravitational fingerprint that hints at its existence. If it's real, it's a humbling reminder that even in the parts of our solar system we barely understand, there are forces at play far beyond our immediate sight, shaping orbits and paths in subtle, powerful ways. And don't forget the small co-orbitals and temporary companions that drift near the outer planets. Some are captured asteroids, some are frozen debris from long-ago collisions, and some may just wander for a while before escaping the sun's pull entirely. They remind us that the solar system isn't just planets and moons in neat paths. It's a living, dynamic neighborhood, full of travelers, wanderers, and wanderlust. From Pluto's icy plains to Eris's distant glow, from the Kuiper Belt's scattered objects to the hypothetical Planet 9, this outer frontier is quiet, cold, and full of mystery. It's where the solar system shows its more subtle side, a slow-motion dance of ice, rock, and shadow. And as we float past these distant sentinels, we can't help but feel tiny, watching a cosmic story unfold over billions of years, a story we're only just beginning to read. Here we are, floating at the very edge of the solar system, taking in the quiet vastness that stretches beyond what our eyes can see. Everything we've explored, the scorching inner planets, the swirling storms of Jupiter, the icy moons of Saturn, the distant dwarf planets, and the frozen rocks of the Kuiper Belt. It's all part of this incredible cosmic neighborhood we call home. Imagine drifting through space, past billions of stars, past comets that carry whispers of the early solar system, past moons that hide oceans beneath ice, and feeling the calm of a universe that has been slowly, patiently shaping itself for over 4.5 billion years. Out here, time feels different. The sun is a bright but distant heartbeat, its light and warmth reaching out across unimaginable distances. Every planet, every moon, every icy rock tells a story, stories of fire and ice, of collisions and creation, of moons captured, comets wandering, and rings that shimmer briefly before fading away. It's a reminder that the universe is both wild and gentle, violent and beautiful, a place where chaos and calm exist side by side. And maybe the most relaxing thought of all, we are part of this story. Even as we sit quietly on our little blue planet, we are connected to everything we've explored. The same solar wind that dances past Neptune brushes past us. The same comets that blaze through the sky pass near Earth. The same cosmic rhythms that tilt Earth and give us seasons echo through our lives. In a way, the solar system isn't just out there. It's in us, in every heartbeat, in every thought we have about the stars. So as you lay back, Let your mind drift among the planets, the moons, and the icy wanderers. Picture the swirling clouds on Jupiter, the gentle rings of Saturn, the red dust of Mars, and the quiet, frozen edges of Pluto and beyond. Imagine the faint auroras on Earth, sparked by solar winds from a sun that has been burning for billions of years. Let the rhythm of the cosmos carry you softly into rest, like a lullaby written across the sky. Remember, each fact, each detail, each tiny piece of this cosmic puzzle is a part of something much bigger than ourselves. And tonight, you've been a traveler among the stars, seeing wonders that most people only dream about. From the smallest moon to the farthest icy body, you've wandered through space without leaving your room. Thank you for joining me on this slow, relaxing journey through our solar system. If you enjoyed drifting among the stars with me, don't forget to subscribe to Sleepy Science. That way, we can keep exploring, keep learning, and keep dreaming together. Sweet dreams, and may the calm of the universe carry you gently through the night.